So in this topic, I will talk about what is production planning and control, what are the different types of production systems, and also what are the roles and jobs of a production managers or engineers. Okay, this topic is not very technical. It's not calculation based. More technical topics, more calculation based topics will come in the coming weeks. Right? Okay, so let's start. Okay, what is production? Production is the application of resources, okay, such as people and machines to convert materials into finished goods and services. Of course, if I ask you what is production, you will say production is to produce something, right? Okay, that's fine. Okay, but in engineering terms, this is the correct definition. It's the application of various resources, including people, means the workers, okay, machines, equipment, tooling, water, electricity, energy, okay, even the factory itself, okay, to do something, to what? To convert the materials, okay. Materials here means raw materials as well as the semi-processed materials, okay. So converting them into what we call finished goods and services, okay. Finished goods are finished products, services are services. Right, so if you look at this figure will give you a better understanding. Okay, in factories we always have inputs. We have different kind of resources, including workers and machines, and we also have raw materials. Okay, so this input will move into a conversion process. So this conversion process is actually the production process. The production process will transform the raw materials into outputs. Okay, so these outputs are in terms of either finished products, finished goods, or services, right? So take for example, car manufacturing. Car manufacturing. So in the car factory, we have resources such as employees, machines, assembly lines. Okay, we also have raw materials and components, like engines, gears, shaft, wheels, car body, okay, and all the other accessories. So all these raw materials will go through the conversion process. So the conversion process here is the assembly process. So the assembly process will assemble all the components into complete car unit. So this is where you get the product, the goods. Okay, so the goods is the car. What about services? Okay, you can understand it as a restaurant, for example. Okay, a restaurant also have all the resources. It has the cook, the chef, all the cooking utensil. Um, Someone type something. I don't know. Okay. I already said I think more than 3 times. I will not do recording for class because I do not want to encourage students to skip classes. Okay, already mentioned many times. So you have to treat this as a physical class where you really have to attend the class and pay attention. And I will only do recording if, let's say, a majority of you cannot attend the classes because of something important that you have to do. Okay, maybe for example, there's a test that clash with this class, then no choice, all of you are involved in the test, and then I have to do the recording. Okay, under normal circumstances, I will not do recording. Okay, answer your question, Nadia. Okay, okay. Okay, so back to the example, services, as I said, look at it from a restaurant perspective. Restaurant has all the resources, the chef, the cook, the cooking utensil, and all the raw materials such as the food, the ingredient. So it will go through the cooking process, which is the conversion process, and then the output will be the food, okay, the cooked meal, okay, as well as the services, because customers will be served, right? The waiter, the waitress will bring the food to the table and serve the customers, right? So what you need to understand is production is not only for making products, it is also applicable to services. Okay, therefore the outputs include both goods and services. Now you have now understand production. Then what is production planning and control? Okay, I think the answer is simple, right? Production planning and control is to plan and control the production, right? Okay, so planning and controlling something is actually managing something, huh? Okay, managing something is actually planning and controlling something. So managing what? Managing the people, the machines, in converting materials and resources into finished goods and services. So basically, it's the same thing as this definition here. Same thing. Okay, but then we add in managing, huh? We add in managing. So basically, production planning and control is managing production. So managing the resources such as people and machines to convert materials into finished goods and services. Simple as that. Okay, next. Not sure whether you can see this clearly or not. Let me make it bigger. So these are examples of production systems that you can find in practice. Okay, I think most of you are familiar with the concept of factory. For example, there's a factory that assemble computers. So the inputs will be all the components are hard drive, computer memory or RAM, the chips, which is normally supplied by Intel or AMD, the keyboards, power supply, and so forth. So it will go through the production process. In this case, it is the assembly process. All the components will be assembled and become either a desktop or laptop. Okay, trucking firm. Okay, you know as a trucking firm, trucking firm normally package and transport goods. Okay, from a source to a destination. Okay, so this is also a kind of production system. Okay, in fact, a department store, okay, automobile repair shop, okay, a police department can also be categorized as a production system. Okay, as long as it converts some inputs into certain outputs, outputs could be goods or services, then it can be considered as a production system. So what is so important about production? Okay, I think the answer is straightforward. It's because of money. Yeah? So production is a very vital function to generate money. Okay, if you look at rich countries, advanced countries, normally they have manufacturing or production sectors as the backbone of their economy, right? Okay, and because of that, we need to actually plan and control production. We need effective production planning. Okay, because of this reason, we need effective production and planning control because first, it can help us to cut costs. Okay, second, improve quality. Third, improve responsiveness or response time to customers. And fourth, improve innovativeness. Right? So lower a firm cost production. Okay, lower a firm's cost of production means cut costs or save costs. Okay, boost the quality of goods and services means improve quality. Okay, allow it to respond to customer demands means improve responsiveness or improve response time or improve delivery time. Okay, and the last one, enable it to renew itself by providing new products. So it means improve innovativeness. Right? So these four things I want you to remember. Cost, quality, responsiveness or response time, and innovativeness. These are the very four important keywords in production planning and control. Okay, whatever we do, the objective is we try to improve these four things, either cost, quality, responsiveness or response time, or innovativeness. Right? Okay, so here are some examples of production system that you can find in practice. Okay, we have mass production, flexible production, also customer-driven production. Right, so what is mass production? You know what is mass, right? Mass means large quantity. Yeah? So mass production means we try to produce something in a very large quantity, and then we store what we produce in the warehouse. Okay, regardless whether the customer wants it or not. Okay, understand? Huh? If the customer wants it, then the products will be taken out from the warehouse and then shipped to the customers. And if the customer do not want it, then the product will continue to stay in the warehouse. Okay, that is mass production. Huh? Okay, so basically it's not driven by customers. Okay, normally in mass production, the company produce based on certain forecast demand. Okay, they do forecasting. Okay, but you know forecasting is not accurate. Huh? So they just produce according to what they forecast and they make everything in large quantities and the completed products are then all stored in the warehouse. That is mass production. Right? So mass production is very different from the second concept, which is customer driven production. Customer driven production is different because in this concept, we only produce based on what customer needs and we only produce when the customer want it. Okay, when the customer needs it. Okay, production will not start until there is a customer order. So after receiving the customer order, then only production will start. And once the production is completed, the product will be straight away shipped to the customer. Okay, that is customer-driven production. All right. And third concept is called flexible production. Flexible production is different from mass production. Okay, because why? Because it doesn't make products in large quantities. It makes product in smaller quantities. Okay, but in more varieties. Okay, mass production make products in large amount, but then in very less variety. Okay, virtually or literally no variety for mass production. They only focus on making one type of models in large quantities. But flexible production is different. Flexible production makes things in smaller quantity, but in larger variety. For example, what? For example, a machining shop. Okay, a machining job shop. I'm not sure whether you know machining job shop or not. You go to Taman U, there are a lot. Okay, those factories behind Jasco, behind Eon, there are several or a lot of machining job shop there. If you go to those job shop, you will see that they have many general purpose machines. Okay, like cutting machines, milling machines, lading machines, CNC cutting, and so forth. Okay, so all these machines are general purpose machines. They can make or cut different types of metal components. Okay, they can produce a gear, they can cut a shaft, okay, they can produce a nozzle, a pulley, any metal components. Okay, so this kind of machining job shop are meant to produce a variety of products, but then in smaller quantities. So that is flexible production. Any questions so far?
No, Prof.
No, everything is clear. Right, so next, technology that we normally use in production process. Okay, to produce something nowadays, we have to make use of technology. So technologies available are like robots, okay, computers, and so forth. Okay, in the past, there's a very famous concept called computer integrated manufacturing, CIM, CIM. So this is where it integrates robots and computers to perform literally all the jobs in production, including designing the products, controlling the machines, handling the materials, running the production, and controlling the production function. But nowadays, we know we are already in the Industry 4.0 era, IR 4.0, right? So more technologies are already involved in IR 4.0. Okay, not only robots and computers, we also have technologies such as IoT, Internet of Things. We have sensors in IR 4.0. What else? cloud technologies, okay, cloud computing, cloud storage, artificial intelligence, and so forth, right? Okay, this one, before we can make any products, we have to set up our factories, right? And before we can set up our factory, we have to decide on the location of our factory, okay, where to set up our factory. So production managers normally, production managers or the owner of the factories normally have to select the best decision, the best location, sorry, the best location to set up their factory. They have to decide where to build or set up their factory, yeah. So of course we cannot set up our factory somewhere in the middle of the jungle, right? If we set up our factory middle of the jungle, then we will have problem. We will have problem sending the products to the customers, okay, and that will actually increase our transportation costs. It will also increase our response time and delivery time, right? So therefore, proximity to market is very important. You have to set up a factory at a location which is close to the market, and not only close to the market, proximity to raw materials, proximity to our suppliers is also very important. I give you one example. If you look at those car manufacturers in Japan, Toyota, Honda. Okay, these factories in Japan are located at a place which are close to their suppliers. Okay, in fact, Toyota requests all their suppliers to build their factories near to Toyota or close to Toyota. Okay, and they call it Toyota clusters. So under Toyota clusters, we have the Toyota factory and all the suppliers surrounding Toyota, right? So whenever Toyota require any components, okay, they will just call their supplier and the suppliers can deliver to Toyota, okay, in a short duration of time. Right. Therefore, if you talk to Japanese, friend in Japanese, you talk to them, when they order a car, they can just get it within 1 or 2 days. Okay, because of this arrangement where Toyota is actually located close to their suppliers. Okay, but in Malaysia is different, Malaysia, if you order a car, then first they will have to check their warehouse. Okay, if their warehouse have the car, then they said, okay, fine, we will deliver to you. You wait for several days. If the warehouse has no cars, then you have to wait, right? Don't know how long you have to wait, right? So it's different, So these are some of the factors that you have to consider, okay? Proximity to market, proximity to raw materials, availability of water supply, energy, okay, availability of labor supply, and so forth. Okay, so I think you can read this, no problem. Now let's go on to what is the role or job of a production manager. Okay, so anyone can tell me what should be the role of a production manager? I think it's simple, right? You already know what is production. You already know what is production planning and control. Then what is the role of a production manager? Okay, the answer is to manage production, right? The answer is to plan and control production, right? So theoretically, it can be written as this sentence here, lah. Okay, to manage or to oversee, okay, the work of people and machine to convert inputs such as materials and resources into finished goods and services. So this is just like the definition of production or the definition of production planning and control. Okay, but then we add in this part here to oversee the work or to manage the work of people and machinery to convert inputs into finished goods and services. So this is the general role or job of a production manager. Now, but specifically, we can divide the job of a production manager into four key roles. These four key roles here. Okay, first is to plan production process. Second is to select the most appropriate layout or technology to make the product. Third is to implement the production plan, meaning to say to run the production. Okay, and fourth is to control the production. Okay, so you follow this order. Start with planning and then selecting the right technology or layout. Third, running the production. Fourth, we control the production. Right, let's start with the first one, planning the production process. What exactly a production manager should do. Okay, a production manager should first select the type of goods or services to produce. So production manager have to decide, okay, what products, what models of the products or services produce or offer to the customers. Okay, once that is decided, then the managers have to convert the ideas into what we call final specifications. So final specification means the dimension of the product, the exact raw materials to use, okay, the size of the product, and the processes to use. Okay, without knowing the specification, production manager will not be able to make the product. So we need the specifications. So once the specification is set, then we can proceed to design the facilities or the layout to produce the products. So this brings us to the second, okay, to the second task. Second task of a production manager, which is to select the most appropriate layout. Oh, this is too small. I don't think you can see. Let me make it bigger. Right, so these are four common types of layout that you can find in the industry. Here we have the process layout, product layout, fixed position layout, and customer-oriented layout. Right, as a production manager or engineer, you need to understand these four concepts. Very important. Because later you will also learn this in facility design. I think it's an option subject in the final year of year. You have to take a subject. Option is an option subject, facility design, where we teach you about layout. Right, let me start with process layout. Okay, what is a process layout? Process layout is where we group similar processes into similar departments. Okay, because similar processes use similar machines and equipment, so all those similar machines and equipments will be grouped in a particular department. Okay, example, look at this example here. Right, we have a process on labeling and sorting. So we can see this labeling and sorting. Right, so all the machines and equipments related to labeling and sorting will be grouped in one department. Okay, and then we have another process on washing and drying. So all the washer, all the drying machines will be grouped in another department. Then we have another process called pressing. So all the presses, all the pressing machines which are related to pressing will be grouped in another department. So in process layout, basically we group similar process together, we group similar machines or equipment together into particular departments. That is process layout. So it means the arrangement is based on process. Okay, the grouping is based on process. That is process layout. Hope you understand. Okay, next, what is a product layout? Okay, a product layout is basically a production line. Okay, it is where we set up the production equipment along a product flow line. Okay, where the work in process or the materials will move along the line, passing from one workstation to another workstation until the final product is completed. That is a product layout. Now, this type of layout is efficient to produce large number of similar products. Okay, just like making car. Okay, normally to make car, to assemble car, it is a production line type of layout. Okay, so we start with the base of the car, and then we assemble. Okay, assemble the door, the body of the car, and then slowly we add on the accessories, the engines, we assemble the gear, the shaft, and then finally it becomes the complete car. Example again, maybe Toyota. I think people are familiar with Japanese car. So you know Toyota produces many types of car models, right? We have Toyota Corolla, we have Toyota Camry, we have Toyota Innova, we have Toyota Yaris, and so forth. Right, so if you visit Toyota plant, okay, Toyota manufacturing plant in Japan, you will see they have this kind of layout, okay, which is a line type of layout, product type of layout. So for Toyota to produce Toyota Corolla, okay, they will set up a line like this just to make Toyota Corolla. Okay, and because this line is specifically designed to make Toyota Corolla, this line can produce Toyota Corolla in a very large number, a very large quantity. Right? And to make Toyota Innova, for example, Toyota will have another line just to make Toyota Innova, okay, in a very large quantity. And to make Toyota Camry, they will have another line to make Toyota Camry. Right? So this kind of layout, as I said, is a production line and it's designed to produce something in large number of quantity. Okay, so it produces large number of something which is similar, large number of similar items. The next layout is fixed position layout. Okay, in this type of layout, the product position is fixed. Now, if you look back at the previous two types of layout, the process layout, the product position is not fixed. The product will have to move from one department to another department to another department until the product is completed. So the product moves. Okay, similarly for product layout, the product will have to move from one workstation to another workstation to another workstation until the product is completed. So the product will move. But for this type of layout, fixed position layout, the product will not move. For example, in the construction site, okay, let's say we are trying to produce a bridge. We're trying to construct a bridge or a building. Okay, so we normally don't move the bridge or the building because it's too heavy to, and it doesn't make sense to move the bridge or the building, right? So the product stays at one position. Okay, and what will move are actually the materials, the employees, machines, subcontractors, the trucks, all these resources will move and come to the construction site, construct the bridge. So a fixed position layout places the product in one spot, in one fixed location. And workers, materials, equipment, and all the other resources will move and come to it. I hope you understand. Similarly, if we make a building, we want to construct a building, the building will not move, but the employees, the workers, the materials, the brakes, the crane, machines, trucks, all this will move. Right? But of course, nowadays there are other practices that they don't really build the bridge at the construction site. There's another practice nowadays where they make separate parts of the bridge in a factory, for example. Okay, for example, one factory will make okay, wait, okay, for example, one factory will make, let's say, this part here. Okay, another factory will make this part here. Another factory will make this part here. Okay, after making all this part, then they will transport this part to the location and they will assemble the bridge. Okay, this is also another practice that you can find nowadays. Right? So I hope it's clear. And the next type of layout is called customer-oriented layout. This is more for the service sector. Okay, so what is customer-oriented layout? Basically, this type of layout try to arrange the facilities to enhance the interactions between customers and service. For example, this layout here, which is a layout for hospital. Right, so if you see, sorry, let's go back. You see this layout, the hospital rooms are here. This is where the patients stay. And just beside the hospital rooms are the doctor's offices and the nurses' offices. So the doctor offices and nurses' offices are just beside the hospital rooms. So in case the patients need anything or they requires whatever services, the doctors and nurses can uh, attend to them or accommodate their requirements immediately. Uh, Similarly, the surgery room, the intensive care units are also just beside the hospital room, so that whenever they need to go to this kind of departments, intensive care units, they can straight away go just nearby. And you look at cafeteria, which is not so important, they are located a bit far away from the hospital room. Business office also not so important, right? Therefore, they are located far away, a bit far away from the hospital rooms. And of course, this is the lobby, the patient receiving department, and this is the emergency department. So they are also close to the hospital rooms, right? So basically, the concept of this layout is to enhance interaction between customers and service. Right. So the third role of a production manager, remember I talked about three roles. Okay, I talked about three roles just now. Okay, planning, selecting the layout, implementing the plan, controlling the production process. So now I'm talking about this third role here, implementing the production plan. Okay, to implement production plan means we start to make the product, right? So production managers have to decide whether to make, buy, or to lease, right? So if we have enough production capacity, for example, our production capacity is enough, we have all the expertise that we have, then we can make the product ourselves in-house. Okay, but if let's say we do not have enough production capacity, then we have to consider other options. Okay, maybe we have to buy it from some other sources, buy it from a supplier, and then resell it to our customer. Or we may have to lease it. Lease it means borrow it temporarily. So production manager normally have to select whether they have to decide whether they have to manufacture a product in-house or they should buy it from an outside suppliers or to lease it. So this is a decision that a production manager have to make, and it depends on several factors such as cost. So if the cost of making a product is more expensive than buying it from a supplier, then we may as well just buy it from the suppliers. Okay, why do we want to waste money making it in-house, right? And of course, other factors have to be considered. For example, availability of reliable suppliers and the need for confidentiality. Okay, especially products that has been copyrighted or patented. So if let's say we decide to buy or lease from suppliers, then we have to select the right suppliers. So the selection of right suppliers also depends on several factors, such as quality of the products from the suppliers, prices set by the suppliers, the delivery time of the suppliers, and the services offered by the suppliers. Okay. Next, controlling the production process. This is the fourth role or the fourth job where a production manager should be involved in. So production manager should also control the production process. Okay, once the production manager has started to make the product, okay, the next role is to control the production. So to control production, we need a well-defined procedures. Okay, and controlling basically means we need to coordinate the people, materials, and machines in producing the product. Right? So we have to control planning, we have to control the routing, the scheduling, dispatching, and follow-up. Planning, I know to understand what is planning. I don't think I need to explain planning. Okay, what about routing? Okay, if I say routing of a product, what does it mean? Routing means the movement, the movement of products in a factory. In a factory, products have to move from one process to another process. You have to move one department to another department. So the routing is wrong. The routing is wrongly designed. And it means the components will go to the wrong department. It will move to the wrong process. All right. So routing, something that has to be controlled. What about scheduling? Okay, look at your academic timetable. That is a schedule, right? It shows you what is the day and time to attend the class, and also the location of the classroom, right? That is an example of a schedule for academic sector. But for production, it's different. For production, when we talk about scheduling, normally we have to specify when. Okay, first is when, or what day or when to make the product, to manufacture the product. Uh, it also involves determining which machine, okay, to make the product, and also what is the quantity that you want to produce. Okay, so that is scheduling in manufacturing, determining when to make the product, which machine or workers should be assigned to make the product, and what is the quantity to produce. Fourth is controlling dispatching. Dispatching normally deals with the sequence of which products to make first. Okay, so it means we have to decide how to, or which customer orders to dispatch first, or in other words, deciding which products that you need to dispatch to the production first. That is dispatching. For example, if you receive 10 different orders from 10 different customers at the same time, so which order should you produce first? Which order should you process first? So that is dispatching. Dispatching means determining which product that you should make first. Follow-up means follow-up lah. Okay. So these are examples of tools that normally production managers use to control their production. Gantt chart is one of the common tools. I believe everybody knows what is Gantt chart, right? Anyone doesn't know what is Gantt chart? Okay, normally Gantt chart on the left side here we have the activities. Okay, activities to be performed, we write on the left side here. Okay, but in this case, this is for production, right? So it is written here the customer order and also the quantity that has to be produced. Okay, and then on the right side here are the time frame that you plan or that you allocate to complete the order. Okay, to make the product. Okay, that is a Gantt chart. And normally Gantt chart also we can have two different. We can have two different time frame. Okay, for example, this one here is what you plan. Okay, so the time frame that you plan to make this order is from 2nd September until 28th October. So this is what you plan. And then sometimes people also pull in the actual achievement. Okay, let's say actual achievement is this. Okay, so in actual, to complete this batch of product, you only need from 2nd September until 21st October. Okay, so from here people can see what we plan and what we actually achieve. So in this case, if we can complete in reality, okay, if let's say actually we complete the product on 21st October, so it means we are ahead of schedule, right? But if let's say the actual time taken to complete the product is until here, okay, this is what we plan, and actually in reality we take this amount of time to complete it. So in this case, we are behind schedule. Okay, so sometimes in Gantt chart we can see two different type of time. One is the time that you plan. The other is the actual time required. The purpose is to see the actual progress, to compare what is planned to what is really achieved. Okay, another important tool that sometimes manager will use is called the PERT diagram. PERT diagram is normally used in construction projects. So this is an example of a PERT diagram for a project where we purchase and install a new robot. Right, so this project itself requires 8 activities to be completed. So all the arrows represent the activities. So each of the arrows represent each of the activities. One of the usefulness of PERT diagram is you will learn later. Okay, you will learn in project management later. Another subject that you will take, I think, in year 4 also. Right. So one of the benefit of this PERT diagram is it will show us the critical path. Right. So for example, in this example, the yellow arrow is the critical path. Now, critical path means this is the path that contains all the activities that cannot be delayed. If any activities on the critical path is delayed, then the completion time, the end date of the whole project will be delayed. That is the critical path. Okay, so for example, this activity prepare spec, accept bids and award contracts, test machine, schedule production. These activities are on the critical path, so they cannot be delayed. If delayed, the entire project duration will be delayed. Now, there are some activities which are not on the critical path. For example, this activity here. Okay, remove all machine, modify factory, install machine. These activities are not in the critical path. So if let's say they are being delayed, for example, 1 or 2 days, then they will not affect the end date or the completion time of the project. Okay, so it means what? It means if you are given some choices to play with the activities, you know which one can be delayed, which one cannot be delayed. Okay, and what else? Dispatching and follow-up. Okay, I think I already explained dispatching, follow-up. You should know what is follow-up. Okay, right. So I think this is the last thing. This is the last thing that every production manager should do, which is to manage quality. Very important. There are many definitions for quality. Okay, different textbook or different gurus. You know, as gurus, right? Different quality gurus or different quality experts give different definitions of quality. Okay, so one of the definitions given is quality means a good or service, in other words, a product or service which is free of deficiency. Means a product or service that does not have defects, does not have deficiency. Some other textbook define quality as a product or service that meet customer requirement, that satisfy customer. That is also a good definition of quality. Okay, quality is important because poor quality can count for 20% loss in revenue. Okay, imagine you sell a product, okay, and the quality is bad, customer return the product, and because it's in the warranty period, you have to repay the customers. Okay, so it will cost about 20% loss in revenue based on statistics. And because of that, production managers have to properly manage and control quality. Right? So quality control is important. And nowadays, in factories, you will find that engineers, production managers are using various kinds of techniques or tools. Okay, for example, SPC, statistical process control techniques, or even the Six Sigma methods, okay, to control and manage quality. Are you all taking quality this semester? There is a subject, there's a course that you have to take, I think quality engineering. For last semester taken already, Okay, good. So you already know what is quality. I don't have to explain more, So you know what is quality control. I think you know what is Six Sigma. Okay, I can skip this. ISO standards, you know already, right? So there is this ISO 9000 series, which is international standards for quality. Okay, and therefore you see many factories always say that we are ISO 9001 certified, we are ISO 9002 certified, and so forth. So ISO 9000 is a series consisting of 9001, 9002, 3, 4, and so forth. What you should remember is ISO, let's say a company is ISO certified, okay, it does not necessarily reflect that the product is good quality, right? Because ISO 9000 is more on paperwork. Okay, so if a company is ISO 9000 certified, what it shows is they have the paperwork in place, they have the documentation in place, okay, and they also have the processes in place to manage quality. Okay, that's all it shows. If a company is ISO 9000 certified, okay, it does not necessarily show that the product has good quality. Okay, but because you have the processes in place, the paperwork in place, okay, so naturally the product should be good quality. Right? Okay, so that's all for this chapter. Any question that you would like to ask?
No question.
Everything well explained? Everything understand? Oh, okay, so the subject you have taken last semester is quality system. Okay, sometimes we got mixed up because every 3 or 4 years we have to revise the curriculum. Okay, sometimes we call it quality engineering, sometimes we call it quality management. Okay, so for your cohort, it's called quality system. Okay, the rest, any question? Okay, no question, then we can stop here and we will continue on Wednesday, 11 to 1. So we have a 2-hour class in coming Wednesday, and I will move on to the second chapter. Second chapter is on forecasting. Okay, I will teach you how to forecast customer demand, what are the techniques to use, and so forth. Okay, so you can leave the class already.
Doctor, they attended.
Okay, yeah, I will stop the WebEx. In 5 minutes time, you can scan the QR code. Okay, it takes time for lecturers to open up the system because the internet is slow. So normally it takes 3 to 4 minutes to open up the system for you to scan the QR code. Right? So you just wait through to about 5 minutes and then you scan the QR code. It's the same QR code that I've sent you last week. Okay, so see you then. Okay, see you on Wednesday. Bye bye.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you,